And for those of you I don't know, I'm the Senior Associate Athletic Director for Communications here at UCLA, and we are excited to have you all here today for a very special announcement. We're going to get started in just a minute, but first I'm going to just explain how this is going to work today. So we have Athletic Director Dan Guerrero and Head Football Coach Chip Kelly here today. Dan will make an opening statement, and then Coach Kelly will speak. We'll open it up to questions from the media. We have two handheld mics here, so we ask that you wait for a microphone and make sure to introduce yourself and your outlet to Coach Kelly before you ask your question. Following that, we'll break off for individuals and scrums with each of the speakers. So without further ado, let me introduce Athletic Director Dan Guerrero and Head Football Coach Chip Kelly.
Good afternoon. Thank you for all being here today. It's a momentous day for UCLA Athletics as we introduce Chip Kelly as our new head football coach. As you all know, bringing Chip here today came together very quickly, but that certainly is no indication that it was taken lightly. In fact, quite the opposite is true. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who was involved in this process. Chip, of course, Casey Wasserman, Troy Aikman, who's here with us today, and Josh Repholz, our Senior Associate Athletic Director for External Relations. I'd like to recognize Casey, Troy, and Josh for everything that they did to help make this thing happen, for the time and the energy that they put into this process. I value their input, and really appreciate the support that they provided me throughout this entire process. You know, UCLA is a special place, as you well know. Reputation for innovation, barrier-breaking, and broad-based excellence. And certainly, winning is obviously a priority in many respects. But just as important is how we interact with our student athletes and what we do from a professional development aspect for them as we try to mold them into young men and women so that they can have productive lives after their time here at UCLA. Head coach at UCLA must not only understand this priority, he must share in it. You know, I held my current role as an athletic director at UCLA when Chip was the head football coach at Oregon. Had the opportunity to interact with him just a little bit, you know, during coaches' meetings and things of that nature, but never really got the opportunity to spend the sort of the in-depth time that we were able to share with each other during this process. Throughout our conversations, it became very clear why Chip is such a successful coach and why he's such a respected man in this profession. Beyond his record, he's sharp, he's meticulous, he's observant, laser focused. He does not miss a thing. Our student athletes will certainly find that out in time. He values the special responsibility that comes with coaching student athletes, giving them the support and resources to develop as people. Very, very important. He understands that the integrity is at the heart of everything that we do here, and he values that as well. Alignment of vision, clearly in that respect. And he recognizes that it's a privilege to coach here at UCLA. Has a clear vision as to how to get our program to a winning championship program, something that we all desire. We spoke at length throughout the week about all of these things, and through these interactions, obviously he left all of us very, very impressed. In the end, we knew that Chip was the right fit for UCLA because of the alignment of vision for all of those things. The desire to be excellent on the football field, and certainly the desire to work with our young men and provide them with the tools to be successful later on in life. Future is bright for UCLA football, and Chip is going to be the leader of this team, the leader of this program, and will take us to new heights. So with that, I'd like to officially welcome Chip Kelly as our new head football coach here at UCLA.
Thank you very much. Not a lot going on in LA today. First, I'd like to thank Chancellor Block, Dan, Josh Rebholz, Troy Aikman, Casey Wasserman, for just taking the time to sit and visit with me and them sharing their values and visions of what this place was all about, and then me sharing my values and visions of how I think a team is built. And to me, making the decision on where I was going to go, and I'll credit David Cutcliffe, who's the head coach at Duke, for this. I spent time with Coach Cutcliffe this past spring when I got a chance to visit him. And if you don't know him, he's a very wise man. There's a lot of intelligent people in the world, but there aren't a lot of wise people in the world. And I owe Cut because he talked to me all the time about his experiences, and he had been somewhere before and got fired, and he said his year off was the best experience he ever had, and it's what you make of it. And then he said, just make sure when you come back that you find the right fit, and that was extremely important to me of where would I fit the best and what's the best situation for me, because it's a great game, and I love football, and I'm very, very passionate about it, but to be aligned and be with the right people is the most important thing, and that's what I learned from him. And when I talked to Chancellor Block and to Dan and to Josh and to Troy about it, it just made sense to me. And there's something special about this place. I had the opportunity when I was at Oregon to compete with this school and to all the schools in the Pac-12. And the fact that I get a chance to go back to the conference where I kind of learned how to be a head coach, so to speak. There's so many great coaches in this league. There's so many great institutions in this conference. To be a part of it again is really, truly special. And then if you're a coach, the unofficial mentor of probably all coaches is the great John Wooden. And I don't care if you coach basketball, you coach volleyball, you coach tennis, you coach football. I think every coach that's ever put on some shoes and grabbed a whistle and got out and tried to educate young men and women have learned from his pyramid of success. And to be at the same campus where he affected so many people and still affects so many people is really, truly an honor. And when you look at the history and the tradition of football, whether it's Red Sanders or Dick Vermeil, who's a great friend of mine and became a real good mentor of mine when I was in Philadelphia, to Terry Donahue, to Bob Toledo, there's been so many great coaches here. I got an opportunity to know Carl Durrell, and I have great respect for him, and I know what he was like as a football player and coach here. Rick Neuheisel, who I talked to through this process, was very instrumental in helping me and making me understand UCLA. And I have great respect for Jim Moore. I coached for 1 year in the league with Jim. And I think the ultimate compliment a coach can make is that Jim Moore is a football guy. And I have great respect for Jim. If someone called me a football guy, I would take that as a compliment. And to come here after Jim and continue this journey for UCLA football is a huge honor for me. And I'm very grateful for Dan, for Chancellor Block, for Troy, for Corey, and for Josh for bringing me here, showing me what this place is all about, and then hoping that I can take this and grow with it. As I met with the players today, I believe football is about three things. I think it's about relationships, friendships, and championships. And you have to build relationships by being honest and open in your communication. You have to be competent in what you can do and transfer, because education is about the transportation of knowledge. And then through that relationship, trust is built. And high trusting teams are the teams that win. And when your team trusts each other and they can go out there and lay it on the line for each other because they know everybody to the right of them or to the left of them gets what it's all about. And I have great faith in that person. And that's my job, is to turn this team into a trusting team that understands what it's all about. And through that trust and relationships, it goes into friendships and lifelong friendships. Those players are going to find their best friends in that locker room and people that are going to be there for them for the rest of their lives. And then hopefully through that process of relationships and friendships, that leads to championships. And that's what this place is all about. When you combine the #1 public academic school in the country with 113 national championships, there's broad-based excellence at UCLA, and I'm really, really humbled to be a part of it. So thank you for that, and I think we'll open up the questions.
We have these 2 pass mics, so please wait for the mic and make sure to introduce yourself.
That's also the longest I've talked in my life.
Ben, over here. Ben Bullock, Los Angeles Times. Coach Kelly, can you talk about how the college game has changed since you last coached in it, and how teams may have adapted to the style of offense that you like, and whether you think you have to counter those adaptations that have been made in the game?
Yeah, it really has changed in the last 5 years. You know, it's something I really think there's a trickle-up effect that's going on in football. I even think what happens on Sundays now has been affected what high school coaches have been doing on Friday nights, college coaches start doing on Saturday, now NFL teams are doing on Sunday. But I still think the game of football comes down to fundamentals. You know, and can you block, can you tackle, can you catch, can you make cuts, can you do that? There's always going to be great schemes out there, and I think it's a coach's responsibility to fit the scheme to the personnel that he has. And that's always the challenge. And I think the coaches that are the best, you know, really what they do is they make the simple seem complex to their opponents, but they make the complex seem very simple to their own teams. So.
Coach, right here in the center, Jim Hill, CBS 2 and KKL9, congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
One would assume that your top priority right now would be to talk and have a conversation with Josh Rosen to find out how he feels. Mm-hmm. But I'm wondering, when you talk to him, or if you have talked to him, what would you tell him about going to the next level, and if you think he's ready or not?
Well, I don't know Josh very well. I had a team meeting this morning at 8:30, and then I got a chance to visit with him for a couple minutes afterwards. I've got a chance to see him on film, and he's a tremendous football player. But I think Josh Rosen, as I would advise any coach, just like I did when I was in Oregon, is that our job is to compile all the information for you and then help you make an educated decision on what's the best decision for Josh Rosen.
Hi, Coach. Ted Sobel, Sports USA. Welcome to LA. I have a couple of questions regarding your being originally from New Hampshire, the little kid in you thinking, how did you ever end up in LA from this long road to get here, and which you would have thought at the time? And also, is there a hockey connection between you and Los Angeles? Did you ever skate at the JFK Coliseum in Manchester? You remember that? Because that's where the Kings' farm team used to be.
Yeah, they were there. I did grow up playing hockey, and then they were the farm team for the Kings. So I don't think when I was a hockey player at the JFK Coliseum that my lifelong goal was Chippy goes to Hollywood. So. I just enjoyed playing hockey. So.
Do you remember a team that
the fact that you bridged that gap to get me from the JFK Coliseum to LA, that you deserve a lot of credit for that.
Do you remember a team, the New Hampshire Freedoms, there when you were about 14 or 15?
Sure.
Minor league team?
No, I do. They had the Monarchs, the Freedoms. There are a lot of teams.
Right. I was their announcer when you were 15. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
Hope you came to our game.
I knew there was a method to that.
Jim, Kurt Sandoval from ABC7. Again, welcome. You talked about making sure it was the right fit in that time off and spending time with Coach and Duke. In this process with Dan Guerrero or Troy Aikman, what in this process did you know this was or is the right fit?
I think if you've been around long enough, you can trust your gut, and maybe it makes you go back and look at your values and vision and do they match. And then I think I was fortunate that I didn't have to take a job, but if I was going to take a job, it was going to be the right job. You know, and I think sometimes your hubris can probably get the best of you to just say, well, I'll go there and I'll just change it. You know, where sometimes it's a lot easier when everybody's already rowing the boat in the right direction. And when I met Dan and then talked to Josh and Chancellor Block about their values and visions of this place, we were aligned. So I thought that was really important for me.
Dennis Freeman, News for Us Online.com. Coach, your offense that you ran at Oregon, can we expect that same type of offense here at UCLA?
No, those players have all graduated. I talked to Michael and some of those guys, but now we're not. So I think anything you do, whatever scheme you run, has to be tailored to the personnel you have. I think you can have a vision of what you're going to recruit to, and this is what we're looking to get to. But I think you really have to evaluate. We're going to play and we're going to open up next year, and we're not going to say, hey, in 2 or 3 years when we get our guys in here. I met with my guys today, and I'm excited about those guys that are currently part of this program. And I told them, I said, it's amazing how resilient young people are. I mean, last Sunday they lost their coach, and then on a short week they turned it around, and on Friday night they qualified to play in the bowl game. And that showed me a lot about the character of the current players on this team, and what I can do, at least from a short-term process of this whole thing, is make sure the next 30 days are the best 30 days of their lives, because they deserve to go to a bowl game. They earned it. They deserve to go finish this off the right way. And as I told them today, great teams finish Jed Fish has a great plan in place. Jed will coach the team through the bowl game. I'm not going to be a part of that, but if I'm there to assist in any way if I can help those guys. But especially those seniors, because I won't get an opportunity to coach them, but they deserve to go out the right way, and I know that this place will do right by them in terms of what they're going to do and where they're going to go and what their bowl experience will be like. But that just goes to the values and the vision that we talked about when I was with Dan, is that we all have to remember that the student-athlete experience is the main thing, and we always have to remember, let's keep the main thing the main thing. So that's what I really hope for this group going forward. And in terms of offense, we'll figure it out when we get a chance to get together with our guys during the second semester.
Coach, right here. Steve Finley, Culver City News, Culver City Observer. We all know you're a great offensive coach, but what about defense? And the second question, can you bring in another DeAnthony Thomas to help us?
Well, first off, he's just a special young man, and I was fortunate to spend 2 years with DeAnthony. And then obviously defense, I think, offense probably gets a lot of the publicity, so to speak, and maybe that's the sexy thing out there, but defense wins championships, and when we were successful in Oregon and we were winning Pac-12 championships, it was because of our defense. I don't think they got enough credit, but you look at the guys that are still playing outstanding in the NFL, the Deion Jordans and the Kiko Alonsos and the Terrence Mitchells and the Avery Pattersons, and the list goes on and on. There were some great players on our defenses at Oregon. Whether people chose to talk about them one way or another, I don't think we control that narrative, but I know for this team to be successful, we have to play great defense, and that's got to be the foundation of when you build your football team.
Coach, over here. Chief, back here. Hey, could I ask you, during this 1 year gap, your gap year, I guess,
we call it sabbatical.
Sabbatical. What did you learn maybe about yourself? Was there a bit of introspection going on because you didn't have football every day, every minute, every hour? And also,
I actually did, but no one paid attention to me.
What did you learn about yourself?
I had a really good experience. I've talked to our players all the time. I think for you to grow as a person, you have to get out of your comfort zone. So I got out of my comfort zone by joining the media. So and it was an enlightening experience. My experience at ESPN and working with people like Chris Cotter and Jonathan Vilma, Kevin Nagandi, and then what we did on Saturdays and watch games with people like Mac Brown, and I could spend time picking Mac Brown's brain, and I know how successful he is and how much I revered Mac as a coach, and then as a broadcaster, how Mac had worked at it, and he was kind of the veteran that kind of mentored me a little bit in that, and then with Booger McFarland and Joey Galloway and Jesse Palmer and Adnan Burke, we had a blast, and I really enjoyed it. It also kept me in the game. I think I have great respect for people in the media in terms of the great ones, and Troy's one of the best that's ever done.